Today I'd like to discuss some methods of self-defense when physical confrontations are unavoidable. But before we do, I'd like to talk about some methods of prevention through awareness. It is important to park in well-lit areas, and when approaching your vehicle, have your keys handy. Let's try that again. It is important not to look like the victim. The lion always stalks the slowest prey. Avoiding dangerous situations can be made easier by knowing your environment and planning ahead. Now I'd like to discuss how we should proceed once a confrontation is absolutely unavoidable. The first thing we have to understand that there are a few ways our opponent can attack us. One is from the front, when we are completely aware of the situation, and the other is from behind. The first thing we'd like to discuss today is how to defend yourself when someone grabs you from behind. In other words, I'd be completely unprepared for the situation. No matter how good you are at martial arts, you don't have eyes in the back of your head. When you're attacked from behind, you're not going to be able to react the same way as if you were attacked from the front. So at this point, I'm going to have Nick get behind me and we're going to discuss a variety of attacks. Nick, the first one we'll discuss is the basic bear hug. Okay? So Nick has his arms around me and it's going to be very hard to free it up. A lot of martial arts teach, which isn't wrong, to stomp on the toes, okay, or headbutt, okay, or go for the groin. Here's the problem. If I go for his groin, he may stand to the side. I can't reach. I don't have the same reaching ability that he, it's tough, or leverage. Let's say he has my arms extremely tight. If he was a huge guy, I can't even move my arms, all right? Another thing, the toes. We could play footsies all day long here. Another thing, he might have steel toe boots on. It's unreliable. Although it may be effective, it's unreliable. Okay? Same thing with groin kicks to the back. He could stand sideways and avoid it. Unreliable. What if it's a female attacking another female? Right? Don't have a groin. It's not going to work. The head. He could keep his head close against my back. I'm just smacking my own head against the harder part of his head. All right? So now we're going to look for something that's totally reliable that will work for all the holds. All right? First thing we're going to do, I'm going to make everything easy for you guys. We're going to break everything down in terminology that's easy to understand. Remember stop, drop, and roll? Well, this is similar. We're going to have step out, step around, and fall down. Step out, step around, fall down. You'll notice how when I landed on Nick, I landed on top of him. Nothing vulnerable on my body hit the floor. One thing we have to worry about when hitting the floor is that we don't know what our surface is going to be. It's uncertain. It could be a curb. There could be broken glass on the floor. I have to be safe. Okay? My body has to be safe from hitting the ground. So therefore, some techniques are kind of obsolete for street application. Let's look at it again. Nick grabs me. May not be able to headbutt. My feet may play footsies. Okay? Don't know. Groin may be unavailable. All right? Hard to get. A reliable technique. Okay? What we're going to do here. Step out. Step around. Fall down. As I fall down, don't be afraid, okay? You're not going to get hurt. He's going to take the fall for you. And if you're practicing at home, you may want to soften the surface of your floor. I have mats here, so my partner's safe. But a tip for your partner, if you're doing it with friends or family, breathe out when you hit the floor, okay? But I'm getting my back foot as close to his far leg as possible as I fall, okay? Falling down. Okay. Now let's talk about what to do once we hit the floor. Slide over a little bit here, Nick. All right, once we've hit the floor, I don't want to keep my legs close because he may roll up at me. Okay? I just put myself in a worse position. I want to keep this leg based out. Okay? So it's a base here, so he can't push into me and get up. Another thing, I'm sliding myself back so that I'm on top of him. My hands on his knees. He may try to knee me in the face. So I'm checking his knees with my hands. At this point, he really doesn't have much leverage for anything, and he's probably winded from taking the fall. Now let's take a look at some alternative holds. This is a very important thing I'd like to discuss, and it's a theme we're going to follow through this entire DVD series. The common denominator method. What I'm doing here is I'm looking for one technique that will take care of a larger number of offensive movements. Why? Well, because if I have to decide which technique to do in a heated situation, it's going to eat up time. Time that could cost me my life. All right, so here's the thing. Nick may do a choke. Now, if I have to remember one technique for this, and then one technique for the bear hug, okay, or then one technique for this one, you know, and one technique for this one, now that's 5, 6, 7, you know, a bunch of techniques that I have to learn. Unless I train every day, all the time, and I'm ready, I'm never going to remember this stuff, especially when I'm scared. You got to remember, I couldn't see him coming, so he just rushed up and attacked me. I'm scared, I'm flustered. I have to decide immediately. I have time for one technique. I have to have it precise and on hand, ready to go. All right. So now let's discuss a couple of different holds, and I'll show you how it's going to work for each one. The rear hold, okay, this choke here, the rear naked choke. It's a very devastating technique. Same thing. Step out, step around, fall down. Okay, you'll notice Nick loses his grip at this point. We can do the full Nelson. Same thing. For you people with weaker necks, I'm just going to say hold your hands together. Sometimes you can't reach. If you can't reach, touch your fingertips. Curl your hands in. It helps to alleviate some of the pressure. You can also put your head back. You may not be able to release the grip, but you can pull your head back. All right? Once we have this, step out, step around, fall down. Okay? There's one other thing I'd like to discuss. If he gets you in this type of bear hug, a lot of guys have the intention of lifting you. If someone's going to lift you, you're going to have to stop him from being able to lift you and toss you, lift you and throw you. So one simple technique I just want to throw in here without making it complicated is hooking with your foot. I'm going to use my right foot to hook behind his. Not the inside, the outside. You can use your left hook, whichever seems closer. Just look down, hook. Now if Nick lifts me, see how if I don't do it, he can lift me. If I do it, lift me, it's very difficult. Right, Nick?
Yes.
Okay. Another thing we can do too, if I'd like to be put on the floor, I can hook, lift me, okay, and come forward. If I stretch my hands forward, it puts more weight outside. Can't pick it up. Even if I forget the hook, okay, lift me. If I throw my weight out, it makes me heavier. Once we hit the ground, I'd like to talk about what to do next. This is another move that will carry over throughout the entire series. All right? So now we were in the position where I was on top of Nick. Remember? Doesn't matter how he has his hands. I don't care. All right? At this point, it will probably have been released from the fall. You have to remember, I have about 2 inches of mat here. Okay? And I'm also falling correctly, and I'm going easy on Nick. When you fall hard. All right? I have my hands here. There are two things. If he really wants to hold on, okay, it's going to be tougher to do this next move. All right? An alternative to this next move, just to show you quickly to breeze over, it's not what I want you to concentrate on. Hold the outside knee with both hands and swing your leg over to go to the mounted position. At this point, it's obvious to see that I'm in a dominant position. If you don't know what to do here, you might get confused. So let's go back and we'll look at what to do from this position. So let's say we fell on concrete or something harder. May have loosened up his grip. Okay? Check the knees. Make sure you don't get kneed. All right? What I'd like you to do is you're going to base just on your hand. Okay, or off of his body. It doesn't matter. I can hold his hips down, depending on your level. I can base off his body. I want you to get up. I'm now basing on this foot and that hand. And step through. Notice how I check the knee. And now into a standing position. Without Nick there, let's just look at the movement again so you can try it home. I'm based. up, through. Wide, so I have enough room to shimmy back. Hands out. Once again. Up, through. So far, we've only learned 2 moves, and they've already helped us with a variety of situations. Now I'd like to talk about what to do when we're attacked from the front. This is often very confusing for most people. Why? Because we could have a series of different attacks at this point. There are charging and tackling moves that the assailant can perform on us. There are grabbing moves from the front. There are punching and kicking moves. So it gets very confusing. What I want to attempt to do here is show you 1 or 2 movements that will work for a variety of different attacks. All right, once again, this common denominator method. Nick could stand in front of me. Here's the thing, all right? He is either going to strike me, grab me close, or come in from a distance to tackle, all right? So these are the things that I have to worry about. I want to break it down for you. So if you're taking notes at home, or you're trying to remember this, or understand martial arts and self-defense, I want you to understand what can happen. We talked about from behind. That's pretty much all that's going to happen. From the side, well, that's the front, okay? So it's just basically you can see it or you can't see it. Right now, he's in front of me. So the first thing I'd like to discuss is striking attacks. We're not going to strike him. Why? Well, there are very, very small bones in my hand. I can easily break them on his head. 2, depending on the situation, this could be a medium-level altercation. I mean, how many of us have been in a life-and-death street fight? And how often does that happen, even if we have? What we're really preparing for is maybe something on the job, okay? Maybe it's if you're a police officer. Maybe you're a teacher, you're a nurse. There's just something, in a hospital where you have to control or restrain someone, all right? Maybe this is your friend and he just got drunk. He's trying to hit you or get you. You don't want to hit him back. Once you commit to punching, that's it. Okay, you've committed to breaking his jaw. You've committed to breaking his nose. Restraining techniques are different because restraining techniques I can control as I apply the pressure. I can restrain this individual and control him. Right? So I really don't want to strike back. Another thing, when I go to strike, if he's a good striker, he's always going to try to strike back. So I'm opening myself up. Okay, I want to just disarm him immediately. Right? So I'm not going to get into the striking game for a number of different reasons. 1, fist is weak. Also, what if you're an extremely small person and you go to hit an extremely large person? It's not going to work. What if he's really tall and you're really small? So there's too many variables. Could it work? Yes. Yes, it could. Will it always work? No. We're looking for things in the system that will always work. Tried and true. Right now, I want to talk about the defensive aspects. We have to understand striking in order to defend against it. Well, here's one thing that a lot of martial arts do. Not bad, but you have to study it consistently in order to perform all the techniques. All right. The problem is, if he does a high punch and then I have one block that I have to use for that punch, and then he does like something to the low, I have to remember a number of different blocks. Forget about it. You're never going to remember that many blocks. First thing I want to do is I want to set myself up and set my opponent up mentally for the situation. Here's the thing. Let's say Nick shoves me or something and we're in a bar fight and I get ready in this stance. You see, I've automatically eliminated any possibility of peaceful resolution. It's not going to happen. All right? Let's look at this. He pushes me again. Hey. I don't want any trouble. Okay? I gave him an out. That's very important. I just gave him an out to the situation. I also did a number of different things which we're going to discuss right now. The first is my hands. My hands are up and ready to defend. My elbows are at my side. Right now, I have my entire side covered. But I'm at the same time presenting peace to my opponent. So this is nice. I'm taking care of 2 things. I'm giving him an out, yet I'm ready to defend myself. 2, I took 1 step back. You'll notice how when he pushed me, if you look at my left foot, I don't want to stay here and just fall back. See how that foot came back? That's good. It's a natural movement. I didn't do any kind of stance that you're going to have to memorize. It's a natural movement. It's a bracing movement. I braced myself. I also put myself at a 45-degree angle. All right? I don't want to square off with my opponent, obviously exposing my groin and making a larger target for him to hit. So in one movement, I brace myself, I have 45-degree angle, and my hands went up. I'm also stepping back away from my opponent. This gives me a small opportunity, small amount of time to prepare myself, distance between him and I. Unless I'm an expert grappler, or you're an expert grappler, you're not going to want to get in close and start doing that, unless you absolutely have to. And once again, I've escalated the situation immediately. Okay, he may just be shoving or drunk or something. Maybe he really doesn't want to fight. I don't know. But let's give him a chance. All right. So here he shoves me back. Hey, I don't want any problems. Another thing we're going to do: shrug your shoulders. This also looks like a submissive sign. Hey, I don't want any trouble. But I decreased the area of target on the sides of my head. You notice how if I'm going to hit Nick, see how much target I have here? Look at all this target area. All right. If he shrugs his shoulders, it reduces. You practically cut it in half. All right? Very important. And also, you look submissive. You're giving him an out. That's fine. Don't let your ego get in the way. If he pushes you, you're back. You can practice this at home. Once I have my defensive posture together, I'm going to be prepared for my opponent to strike me. First, we'll discuss strikes coming straight on. Okay? Just straight strikes. Then we'll discuss the sides. Okay, they can only come at so many angles. Here, here, or here, really, unless he's super tall and can dump one straight down my head. I don't really have to worry about that. Okay, so strikes from the front. First thing I want to go over is just basically the jab. Here's what we're going to do. Take it easy, relax. Don't reach for the punch. If I reach for the punch, I may overextend, and he can always hit me with the other hand. Just keep your hand here and catch it, maybe like a baseball. View it like a baseball. Your hands are open, he does it, I just catch it. Now all I have to do is just tap it a little bit. Tap it a little bit. Tap it a little bit. That's it. It's simple. Okay? Tapping a little bit. Here's a neat little technique that we can try. If you focus in on my right hand, you'll notice that I'm not actually grabbing his hand, which I could do. If you're a grappler, okay, and you're applying this to grappling situations, you could always try to grab his hand. It works. What I'm doing is, as he comes in, I actually open my hand. And you'll find I gain an inch or two right here. All right? Watch his hand deflect. As I do it, we'll do this like slow-mo here. Boom. His hand actually goes off course and deflects. Off course and deflects. Okay, just a little bit. Now here's the thing. It doesn't require a lot of speed to do this because A, I don't have to swing to meet his hand. So if I was doing the traditional, geez, I have to be really fast. It's already up. So as soon as I feel it, I just open. As soon as you feel it, open your hands. Open your hands as soon as you feel it. So he does it, open my hands. That's it. If you reach a little, return. Okay, so let's say I reached. I return. Okay, reach, return. And the other hand's always there. I reach, he does it, boom. Okay, I got the other one. So here we're playing a little game of slap. It's easy to practice at home with friends, and it's not dangerous. Okay, you just stay far away and just practice. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, 1, straights. That's it. Okay, if I mess up a little bit, I got the other hand up. That's it. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. All right. So I'm just keeping him out of the way. Relax. I do everything at a relaxed pace and practice a little bit, but it's easy to remember. The hands are up. The next thing we're going to discuss. There are punches that come from the bottom, uppercuts. This is very confusing for a lot of people. The way we should practice it as friends is if he's here, see my elbows are here, just open your hands, okay? Don't go pounding him. Basically, what's going to happen is, if you look at Nick for a moment, it's either going to come from the side, okay? In which case, all he has to do, without really lowering himself too much, keep your hand open. He just keeps himself kind of turtled. He just has to shrug, shrug, shrug. See? I can hit him pretty hard. No big deal. Actually, if my fist is closed, okay, my hand will meet his elbow. And you'll notice this right here. That's going to hurt me worse than it's going to hurt him. All right? So, here. If it comes through the center line, he has a choice to make, depending on where he is. He can either kind of shrug this way a little bit, or his hand was up. He can shrug here. So he just kind of curves, see? That's it. Does the elbows. And he's pretty tight. Straight. Yeah. Good. All right? It's a pretty simple system. Shrugging. So my elbows are already down. I ball up. I can make my head disappear. You'll notice how much target area there is here. Look at it disappear. Disappears. Shrugging. Okay? Simple system. I didn't have to remember a series of different blocks. For the outside hands, he may come wild swinging punches. This is the thing. He has this hand here that could come and hit me. So you got to keep this other one up. So as he comes out, I have to be ready. So my hand has to move into a position like this and curve a little bit. I shrug and curve, shrug and curve. So my hand kind of pushes it away. If you look at a hand on a center line here, and you can have your friends at home do this. If your hand's on a center line and I try to push without moving my hand, just push in at me, and it's like a lot of strength. Watch when I turn out. I'm turning my hand out. Turn it. Okay, of course we're not going to do it that much. When it comes time to do it, I'm exaggerating. So a little technique in here. So basically all we have is just moving your wrist a little bit. Right? It's a tiny bit. So when he goes wide, just turn a little bit. Turn a little bit. Fan it out. Okay, notice I go into it just a little bit. I have to. All right? Because if I try to back up too much, oh, he's going to meet it. So I go in. Basically, the most power right here is at the end of his fist. If I go into it, it has no power. However, I have to watch out for this hand. So this hand has to be up and ready. All right? Simple. So basically we've covered these angles of attacks, these angles of attacks, okay? And what's nice is Nick's not even using his hand, and that's fine. If you forget, that's what's great about this. He just shelled. Even if he doesn't open his hands, he shelled. Look at how little target area I have, especially this side. It's very little target area. You can really see how it bounces right off. I'm actually hitting him quite hard, and it's bouncing right off him. It's going right up, it's sliding right up his arm, going at an angle. And once he knows, I mean, he doesn't have to worry about the uppercut now. Once he knows he's being hit here, he can kind of curve it off. I mean, going too high, obviously that exposes you against, and he has to move too much. Just a little bit. Okay? That's it. Beer's right off the top of his head. Now we don't have to learn a whole series of blocks. We have the hands down. Right now I'd like to discuss what to do against kicks. All right? Well, upper kicks, it's the same thing with the arms. If he goes to kick higher, I keep my arm here. It hits here. If anyone has ever been hit in the shin with an elbow, martial artist, you know it's quite painful. All right? I don't suggest trying it at home. So, but once again, if you have high kicks, it's the same exact thing to the side. The other hand, up. Okay, so he goes to kick. Boom. In case it's followed up by a punch, I have my hand here and ready. All right? It's pretty simple. Low kicks. This is where everyone gets confused. If you block a low kick with the hand, okay, you're leaving your face wide open. All right? Don't do that. Now also, once again, it plays into this common denominator thing. If I lower it, now I have to bring it back up, so I have to learn a bunch of different blocks here. And we don't have time for this. All right? I don't want to spend too much time on this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to raise my right leg. Go to kick. That's it. I raise my right leg. That's all you're going to do. Now let's look at the details of the right leg. My knee comes up, at least to waist level. Otherwise, there's an opening. Look at my elbow. See, I close that gap. I don't want to be here because there's a little opening here. I want to raise it right to my elbow so I cover it up. My foot, point it down. This will allow kicks to graze off in front of my leg so it doesn't get trapped in there, locked in there, and I'm hitting shin against shin. Now here's the detail. I have to change the angles. The kicks may come from here or here. All right. So if he's kicking from this side, I'm going to angle my leg this way slightly. If he's kicking from this side, I keep it straight up and down to keep it very simple. So he's here. If he kicks me from the outside, angling. Okay. Oh, it's a little high. So my, this word like, if he goes to kick me from the outside here, my elbow protects a higher kick. But what I want to do now is deal with the lower kicks. I'm going to angle my leg slightly, okay, to meet it slightly. Okay, so see, I'm actually curving and protecting this whole area here. So this whole side of my body is kind of protected. All right. If he comes around this side, straight up, it's completely protected. That's all you have to remember. Even if I mess up and he kicks me this way and I kind of have my leg curved here, it doesn't really matter. He kicks me in the butt. Okay, it's not the best thing, but obviously there's a little bit of meat there to protect yourself with. All right. So here, okay, up. Very simple. My entire body's blocked. What to do with the rear leg? Bend it a little. If you're straight up, it's going to be hard to see. If I try to keep my balance with my leg straight up, it's difficult. If I bend my leg a little bit, it's much easier to keep my balance here. All right? So it's simple. Once again, you can try it at home slowly and perfect this technique. Now let's talk about some offensive movements. We can't stand here all day raising our leg and putting our hands out, parrying. We have to have some offensive counter movements. The first one we're going to discuss, and pretty much the only one, is the front push kick. A lot of martial arts do it from the rear. Here's the problem with the rear. The rear comes up slowly. All my base was on this leg. All right? The reason I blocked with the front kick was because it's fast. There's no way he can get his leg all the way up to me faster than I can just raise my lead leg. If I was raising my rear leg, it comes up slower. That's obvious. It's also more telegraphic. I already had my right leg up. It's faster. Since I already had it up, if he goes to kick me, I can simply push him back with my leg. All right? What's nice about this kick, as opposed to a punch or other kicks like this, I can control it. I can use it either as obviously a kicking motion, or I can slow it down and control it and use it as a pushing motion. So if I don't want to hurt my friend here, Nick's my pal, and he's just getting a little rowdy, I can just push him away to keep him at bay. All right? He'll get the point. If he doesn't go away, you can do it a little harder, he'll eventually get the point. And obviously you can practice and control where you're hitting, groin area. You can come down on a knee, okay? You can come a little higher to the chest, depending on your level of flexibility. If you're not flexible at all, hit the knee, okay? It hurts. And it'll definitely at least stop your opponent. It's called stop kick here. So he comes forward, I can always get him in the knee, all right? Hands are still up. So it's a dual purpose movement. Simultaneously, I'm blocking and I'm ready. I'm loaded. Okay, I'm ready to just go to attack. Okay, knee, okay, chest. I'm ready to go. Kicking out, kicking out. It's simple. Now we understand how to use this for a distance application. Another real good fine point to bring up about this technique is that when someone's punching you, which is honestly a little more typical than someone kicking you. When someone's punching you, I have reach. It's nice. Okay, I have the reach with my leg. It's very, very powerful. Another thing for you smaller people, if you're a woman or a child, you're fighting a man, there's no way you're going to have the knockout power to take out a big guy. However, your legs are extremely strong, bigger than their arms. You'll be able to take them out with your legs. You won't be able to take them out with your arms. What we're going to look at now is how we can apply this to pretty much every front grabbing attack that exists. This is great. I only had to learn one posture and one move for everything that will come at me in the front. Basically, the first one I'd like to go over, because it's the most common, is just basically, when someone's grabbing your neck. Or we can do this against the wall too, but what I want to do here is, see how we have space? If I have space, I can raise and I can push off on his knee. Obviously, I can push off on his groin. That's not going to, feel good. Here, I can push off his chest, and it's going to be very hard for him to hold on. All right. I can also, once again, escalate the situation. If he doesn't want to let go, I can go harder. All right. Once again, this is the only thing that's pretty much always going to work against the wall. If I'm against the wall, well, I don't have the leverage, but I have my back braced against the wall, so I have a tremendous amount of pushing power to get him away with. Here's the problem. A lot of people would say, well, why would you strike? Why wouldn't you strike? One, well, I may not be strong, once again. Two, he may be ducking, I spent all day doing this. I'm getting choked. He's in a good defensive situation. I'm not. I have to push him away, because there's a lot of reasons for this. Two, wrist locks. Some guys are extremely powerful, so the wrist locks just don't work. I can't twist his hand. Try it. Okay? For all of you who've tried wrist locks and self-defense courses, find the biggest person you can. And tell them to hold their arm out like this. And try to twist their hand. Now, Nick's giving me trouble. You understand? It's not always going to work. Then they'll say, well, strike first to loosen him up. Well, I had to strike him now. See, it starts to get complicated. I'm making this simple for you guys. Why not take one move that we learned before and use it for this? Okay? Now, it will be the same thing. Obviously, for the lapel, it's the same thing. Wrist grab. It's the same thing. Get off, right here. It's the same thing. All the frontal grab. It's the same. The only situation where it changes a little bit, but we're going to use the same move, is when he's very close. This could be for a young lady or something getting held here. Well, I don't have to go too far into it to say that if I raise my knee, it's hitting something that he wants to keep. Okay, so boom, raising your knee. Boom, raising your knee. Okay, it's the same thing here. If it's an extremely aggressive situation, and he's here and he's trying to pin me against the wall, I would raise my knee, boom, into his chest. If anyone gets hit, if you get hit in the low ribs, solar plexus level, it's very painful. Boom, boom, and you can continue. If you want, you can continue by pushing his head, which is the next thing we'll discuss. Once you push his head, it's right in line with the knee. You can really harm someone like this, so I'd like you to be very careful. The technique I discussed last will lead us to this next section. Before, if you remember, I was pushing Nick's head away. This was Nort's knee, potentially, which, like I said, can be an extremely dangerous technique, all right? So this is only for a real, serious situation. If it's just your friend, we're going to talk about what to do. All right, this will also work, you'll notice, for a tackling situation. If he's coming to tackle me, I want you to push the head. All right? Now look, anyone can catch a basketball. If you just sat here and Nick and I are about this far away, and he chucked a basketball, I would get it. I would catch the basketball. It's about the same size as the head. There's no head that's going to come faster than you can pass a basketball. All right? It's a very simple technique. As he comes in to tackle me, I drop my hands down and push the head. All right? It's very hard for him to drive past that. If he's got the strength to drive past it and he's reaching for my leg, spread your legs back. See how it came right off? And put your weight right on his head. Now, I don't want to hurt Nick, but we're going to do it nice and slow. As you spread back, plant his head right to the floor if he wants to. See? Okay? That's how you push someone off. But essentially, we're going to do what I like to call catch and pass. All right? So he comes in, I catch, pass. All right? So he comes in, catch, pass. You're going to find this is a very, very hard technique to get by. Are there other sprawling techniques or defensive techniques against a tackle? Sure. Okay, he could come in, I could do double underhooks. Okay, I could turn him over. Now we're getting complicated. Why not use the same technique, bridge it right in from before? Simple, we can move on. All right, so it's a catch and pass move. Catch, pass. It's a very, very serious situation. I can catch, knee. All right, so I'm bridging in these two moves from before. Catch and pass. Catch, pass. All right? If you have to, move your body away. If it's more severe, catch, jump back. Okay? So again, catch, jump back. But keep your weight on his head. As I come up, my weight's on Nick's head. Okay? So here, catch, jump back. Okay? Simple. Catch and pass, catch, jump back. This keeps your opponent away from you. All right? From grabbing you. All right. Now there are other things we can use here, like if he is close and I don't like the knee. I mean, I can do the same type of thing, like peeling the head off. But essentially, what I'm using this for is for when he's like a diving, the catch and pass. All right, the catch and pass technique. All right. You can do this all the way to the ground. Once again, he comes in all the way to the ground. Okay. It's really hard. You try this to your friend, you won't like it. If you press the head here, this is a really tough position for him to get up from. I have a lot of control here. All right. And I can run. Remember that this first section is a defend and flee system. We'll be discussing restraining techniques later, but this is defend and flee. I want to be able to get him down and get away. And remember, if it's on the concrete, that isn't going to feel very good. Now I'd like to discuss what we should do when someone takes us to the ground. It may happen. Right? A lot of people are like, oh, I'm not going to let him take me to the ground. That's no, we can't let him. No, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. If someone's bigger than you and intent on tackling you, it can happen. All right? For women out there, well, what about a rape situation that begins on a couch? Okay? He's going to have you in a compromising position where you may be on your back. And it's extremely important to understand it. I'd like to keep it simple. There are some jiu-jitsu techniques, which can be seen in my other DVD series, all right, where we talk about finishing techniques, submission techniques. But here's the deal. You don't want to be wasting a lot of time on your back, on the pavement, fishing for these techniques, trying to set up these moves in a very dangerous situation, or a situation where time's of the essence. All right, so in this situation, what we're going to talk about is him taking us down. Well, we're going to talk about him tackling me from the back and from the front. I guess since we started, with the step around move, and since that's going to apply here, let's talk about what's going to happen when he tackles me from the back and I fall down face forward. All right. At this point, let's say, boom, you ran into me and I fell down. Okay, and I'm on the floor here. This happens in a lot of self-defense situations. Okay. For women, he may try to be directly behind you. For men, I don't know. It depends. He may be just trying to hold you. Maybe he has some wrestling experience. I'm not sure. Remember the technique we did before. All right. Step out. Okay, and step around. So we have to angle myself. At this point, I'm going to need to do some basing techniques just to make sure he can't take me down. Don't have your knees in too far. All right, keep them out. So I'd like you to step out. Once you step out, we're going to create angle. Let's say he's directly behind me. Now that he's directly behind me, I can't. It's hard for me to shimmy and shimmy. I'm going to just look and see. See how he's really based here? It's going to be hard for me to beat that angle. So I'm going to step out on this angle here. Once I get that angle, I put my knee back on the floor. You see I created a little space by doing it. So I'm just kind of walking around here. Angle. If you'd like, at this point, you can actually check your opponent. All right, so that, just spin for me, Nick, same position, it's fun. Okay, at this, see how I'm checking with my hand. All right, so he has a harder time moving around me. Is it going to keep him there forever? No, but it will stop him from moving around fast. Okay, so I can check. The next thing I'm going to do, I stepped out. I'm going to step around. Okay? Then I'm going to fall down. Before I fall down, I want to control this arm. I'm going to make him stay on me. All right? I can either hook the elbow here, tuck it with my arm, and hold the wrist, or just hold the wrist, depending on your strength your size and your level of comfort. Stepping out, around behind him. Same move as before. Fall down. Okay, I'm out. I step around. And now I'm securing this arm. He's stuck to my back. I fall down. I'm in the same position I was before. From another angle. Here. Step out. Step around. Fall down. The technique we just learned before can also be applied from the top about checking that leg. And it's something I want to make a quick note of now that we went over. If we're here and he keeps following on me and following me, you can check that leg. So he can't keep following you. But keep it simple, guys. All right. Now let's discuss what to do when we hit the ground from the front. This can get complicated and tricky here, so let's try to pay close attention and keep it simple. The first thing is keeping ourselves safe. If the surface we're hitting is hard, you got to be very aware of it. I might not go down, easy. So what I want to do is tuck your chin, keep your teeth closed so you don't bite your tongue and breathe out. That's the best we can do. If you want to learn about break falling and ukemi techniques, you can learn about them on my Essential Techniques DVD series, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu series. Otherwise, I think we're going to spend too much time on it. It's going to get complicated. Also, you may not know, you may not have time to react. The surface may be incredibly hard, so it might not matter if you know those techniques. Basically, when you hit the ground, you want to try to bend your knees and fall. Keep your head tucked in. All right? But once I'm down, if Nick can come on top of me and tackle me, he's going to be in a few different places. All right? One, he's either going to be directly in front of me. Two, he's going to be at my side. Okay? Or three, he's going to be right on top of me. And these are all the things that we're going to discuss. So the first thing I'd like to discuss is, first of all, if he's here and he's away, we can use that technique from before. Do you remember when I was on top of Nick? Okay, if he's here, I can use the same move from before, getting away. All right, so look here. It's the same thing. See, I'm moving away. One thing we can add, as this leg comes up, you can kick him with this foot. Then back away. Hand up so you do not get hit or kicked. You're blocking everything here. And you're to your feet. If he's down lower, he may be on his knees and try to attack me. If you're a woman, you may end up in this situation here where he's between your legs. Okay, this could very well happen. Between your legs here, what do we do? All right. Well, the first thing, if we can get our feet in his hips, obviously you can push away, make a tremendous amount of space, and you can also kick from this position. All right. So here, very easy. He's here. I can push away. Another thing, extremely powerful kick I have here to his face. Extremely powerful. Has knockout power. Once again, this is a stopping power technique here, this kick. It's devastating. All right, so, and again, we're using the same front push kick we did before. I can also, if I don't want to hurt my opponent, push. Okay, you can get on a leg press machine, you can push a tremendous amount of weight. All right, the human body is going to be nothing. So you can kick or push. Now let's discuss how to get away when he's closer. Okay, we're going to bridge it into two different sections. When my opponent's closer to me, and let's say I can't get my feet in his hips, we're going to do something very simple. All right? You're just going to put your feet on the floor as close to your butt as you can get them, and you're going to slide backwards. Okay, so without Nick there, just for 1 second, please. Here's my movement. Here. Slide backwards. Here, slide backwards. Please. Now we're going to add another technique from before. Once again, we're bringing in an old technique, so we have to remember less. Let's say he's really close, and I want him there. Catch and pass. Catch and pass. Slide back. My feet go in his hips. I continue with my kicking or my pushing. He's close. Catch and pass. Slide back. Feet go in his hips. I can now kick or push. Now my opponent, Nick, has me inside control. This is a very complicated area, and usually it varies, especially in jiu-jitsu, depending on where he's holding me. He could be holding my pants, he could be in a cradle situation, I want to try to just give you something very simple that'll work for most situations. Is it bulletproof? No. Will it probably get you out? Yes. The first thing I want to address is, as opposed to getting out, Remember the catch and pass? Well, you can get as far as you can go here, all right? And remember how we lifted our knee before? You can do that right into him, into either his ribs, okay, or his head. Devastating. Okay, especially his hands on this side, which will make escaping very hard. Boom, right here in his head. Okay, what this is going to do, if it doesn't knock him out at all, it's going to buy you some space to do our next move, right? Which will be the same. Here, catch and pass, slide back here. Okay, so sliding back to make room, sliding back, pushing, sliding back. So my body's actually sliding back. So you may be here, sliding back. Okay, sliding back. I'll slide back until, look, my knee's almost in front of him, until I can knee him in the face, or get my feet in front of him, pushing away. So really, it's just simple. I mean, I've had people just simply move their knees a lot from there. It's horrible. Okay, you're getting kneed in the face and kicked until you can get your feet in front. Let's not make this too complicated. So sliding back and getting in front of him. Okay, sliding back and getting. We need to slide our body up. We're not going to try to use just our hands because we're not all that strong. See, look, right out. Now I get my legs in front of him. Ball up, push away. Here, stand up move. We're ready to fight or we're ready to run. Now I'd like to discuss the final position from the ground when you are on your back. At this point, Nick will be in the mounted position on top of me. All right. This is a devastating position, and I want to discuss a few points here. Before I was able to tie in a bunch of techniques from before, this is the one unique situation where I will not be able to do that. All right. So this mount escape is a separate thing that you have to take the time to learn, but it's so common that I decided to include it in the system. Nick is now in the mounted position on me. All right. First thing we're going to talk about is intention to punch. All right. Obviously, you know, there are techniques in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu where I can escape out this way, but the problem is you're going to have to learn how to do that, and he's punching you in the face. You don't have time for that. So the first move I'm going to do is a bridging move. All right. This will force him to put his hands on the floor for balance. If I bridge, he has to put his hands on the floor for balance. Once his hands are on the floor for balance, he is not punching me. Let's look at that again. My hips, basically legs here on the floor, my hips come up. Once again, up. Okay? You can bridge a tremendous amount of weight with your hips. Hips up. Okay? So now he's trying to punch me. You want to probably keep your hands in front of your face anyway. Up. Once he comes up, we're going to grab whatever we can. All right? There's a lot of technical details here for jiu-jitsu people, but look, you don't have the time for this. All right? It's just quick. Up. Grab something. Hook it. Grab it. Okay? Get what you can on one side. Pick a side and go to it. Preferably, you'll be able to lock the outside leg. If you look at my left leg, you can lock it so he cannot base out as I roll. All right? So what I'm doing is I'm capturing his basing limbs. I'm capturing this basing limb and that basing limb. Once I've captured the basing limbs, I keep my hips up in the air, do not bring them back down, and I will roll at a 45-degree angle over my left shoulder until I am in the top position. Let's look at it again. Okay, just without Nick there for a second. Look, bridge, roll. Okay, you can slip this leg under the other one. It's a little technical. I really don't care how you get up, just get up. Up to your knees. To your knees. Wide base, not a narrow base. Don't fall back over. You're going to have to do it again. All right? I don't want that, Nick. Here, punches. You've got to worry about the punches. Boom. Up. Closest limb. Locked limb. If you don't have time to look how you missed, forget it. Go, 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 go. Life or death. Get up. A lot of systems of martial arts concentrate on slashing and standing attacks with a knife. The thing about this is it gives them a chance to pull out their own weapon. Okay, so if, like, let's say I wanted to attack him with a knife. Now he has an opportunity to get his own weapon, all right, an opportunity to defend. I might actually opt for tackling him, grabbing him, and then stabbing him. What do? A lot of systems of self-defense don't address this. We're going to address this, all right? What I want to talk about first is, very quickly, if he has the knife, what we're going to do is we're going to just do two basic things here, all right? We're going to capture the wrist, though. This is the first basic thing. We're going to get the wrist however we can. All right, just get the wrist. Okay, so it's going to be from a down position though. We'll talk about it later, but just get the wrist. You're going to get the wrist. All right, so this is very important. Second thing we're going to do is decrease the length of the blade. Here's the thing: you can survive from slashing attacks for a long time. They may not even kill you. All right, unless they cut a main vein artery here, then you're not going to die right away. All right. It's a grazing attack. What I'm worried about is a puncture wound, something that goes all the way inside my body and destroys my vital organs. By grabbing the blade, I reduce the length of the blade, therefore reducing the amount it can go inside me. This is important. This is life and death, people. Okay, it sounds gruesome, but it's life and death. I'm also holding the wrist. If I held the blade without the wrist, he could pull it out and cut my hand. When I do this, he can't pull it back out. I'm attached to it. All right, so it's not going to saw or cut me. Also, I might get cut a little on the hand here. Maybe. But you know what? That's better than getting cut on the neck. All right, so I hold it a little bit. All right. You can do it at home. Take a big piece of steak, wrap it around a knife. Unless you saw it, it's not going to cut it. So, lesser of two evils here. That's what we're going to talk about. Okay, removing the knife is simple. Pushing it toward the person. It's very hard to hold on to. Okay, very hard to hold on to. You can also push down. Okay, the blade in this type of knife, the blade won't touch my hand. Try it. Okay, have your opponent hold on as hard as they can, and you can lever up with this hand and down with the other. But see, I can't always determine which hand's going to grab first. It's a life and death situation. So maybe I had it here. Good, I get it out. I have the knife now. Maybe I grabbed it here. I got it. Well, I have to come that way. Okay, come this way. All right, whatever way it goes, go against his hand. Go right at him. Go right at him. Right at him. Right at him. Another reason that I hold the knife, and this is extremely important, some martial arts, they do blocking techniques. He could switch hands anywhere in here. Boom. I have to grab the knife. Now he can't pass it to the other hand. It's extremely important. Once again, we'll go back to the wrist locks. He may have a tough wrist. And if I don't address the knife, he can pass the knife. No, just pass the knife. Ah! Okay? So this is clever, right? Maybe I was going to do a wrist lock move. Pass the knife. Oh! You know, you have to address the blade. It sounds dangerous, it's scary for a lot of people, but the blade must be addressed. Okay, now we're going to talk about the defense from the mounted position. Very few people discuss this, but I can tie it into the last technique we learned. He's going to be mounted on top of me and ready to stab me. Now I really have to do this move. Okay, so like I said, if I was doing a martial art where I was just blocking, that's not going to work. He's got me. All right? Another thing too, it might be right up against here. Okay, it might be like here. Well, look, grabbing the hand so he can't saw, stabilizing his motion, and getting in between me and the blade are two helpful things. I can pry it out of his hand. Here, hold on to this knife. It's hurting your wrist, isn't it? Valuable. Okay, what's better, my palm, which is hard and calloused, or my neck? So I'm holding here. What am I going to do? Bridge up. Okay? If I can't hook, I'm going to try to roll him over. Boom, right over. Okay? Whatever I got to do to get out of there. Okay? It's a very deadly situation. So here it's the same as before. If you want to have the foresight, you can hook the leg so he can't base. Bridge up and roll. Once again, we'll do it from this angle. He's got the knife. Okay, it may be a stabbing attack. Boom, blocking out. Lock your arm out here. It's hard for him to get down, even if you're not strong. Decrease the length of the blade. I've just combined the two moves. Okay, now I'd like to discuss how to defend against a knife attack. Once again, let's reiterate some of these points. By blocking things, I've lowered my boom. See, now it requires skill, speed, timing, things you don't have. Okay? You cannot always rely on your opponent being less physically skilled than you. Okay? All physical characteristics have a pinnacle. They'll reach a point in which they cannot be developed anymore, or you will run out of stamina, you'll run out of strength. There's always a ceiling for physical characteristics. The one thing that never runs out of energy, never runs out of stamina, it doesn't gas out on you when you need it, is brain power. Okay, you can always be more technical than the other person. And that's what we're working on, technique. So you don't want to rely on speed. Okay, boom, all right? No. You don't want to rely on the hand. You'll pass, stab you. There's also strength, by the way. If he's extremely strong, he would have pulled his hand out. Okay, so wrist locks and stuff, unreliable completely. All right? What I want to do is grab that, stabilize it. You'll notice when you play around with this at home, you can be very fast with the grabbing. You can grab a wrist really quickly. Grab, secure, turn out. Okay? Any angle, I don't care. Grab, secure, turn out. Doesn't matter. I don't care. See, I'm trying to make this easy for you. You don't have time to think. Your life was just threatened. You're not going to be relaxed. You're going to be horrified. Out. You're safe. Okay? Grab. Reduce the length of the blade. Another neglected item here. Most people are worried about stabbing and slashing. You know what would really kill you? A screwdriver. An ice pick. It would stab into your vital organs here. Maybe it's coming here. You know what I mean? You have to reduce this blade here. Okay? Catching. Out. Okay? Catching. Out. Out. Come behind me, please. Here's where the system works very well. We have a situation here where Nick has my neck, all right, like before, all right, but it's behind me. Here, reduce the sawing motion. Come between you and the blade, and turn out. Okay? So what's nice about this principle is I can use it for any situation. Now I'd like to work on the gun defense portion of the series. This is probably one of the most serious set of techniques that we'll work on. And I would like everyone to remember that when given the opportunity, or if you have the opportunity to, let's say, give the person your wallet, or give them what they want, if it's small, look, you can buy a new set of credit cards, you can buy a new wallet, you can't buy your life back. And I'd just like to put a disclaimer on this and let everyone know, please use your best judgment in this situation. Okay? I know it's very hard to use judgment like that in a critical situation, but you're going to have to. Okay, this is a very, very dangerous situation. You can easily get yourself killed. I'm also going to say one thing for the viewers and people practicing at home. Please do not use real firearms when you're practicing these techniques. Please do not use loaded weapons. It is unsafe, and you will probably get yourself killed. If you'd like to practice with, like a rubber gun like this, purchase them at martial arts supply stores. It's the best way to practice, or something that resembles a gun. Carve one out of wood, but do not use a real weapon. All right. The first thing I want to say about this is, if he is at a distance, there's not much you can do. Don't use your kicking techniques. Don't use any of that stuff. All right? It's not going to work. The only time it's going to work is if he is close, if he's in grabbing distance. All right? Sorry. When he has a distance on you, there's nothing you can do. Try to talk your way out of it. Step back. Negotiate. Use your best skills. Give the person what they want. All right? What I'd like to discuss here is, I'm trying to make this simple for you guys by keeping some of the principles the same. The knife principles, if you remember, we're grabbing the wrist and then peeling the weapon away. Here's the thing. You'll talk to a lot of gun experts and you'll notice that the way guns are designed, for example, this dummy model here has the shell casing coming out the top. Now, a lot of people don't like to grab the top because it'll burn you. However, with the defense for a revolver, which spins, they will just hold the spinning mechanism of the revolver and will stop everything from moving anyway. Well, the thing is, once again, you don't have the time to be a weapons expert right now. We don't even have the time to be a martial arts expert. This is self-defense made easy. All right? So I can't make those kinds of judgment calls. So I'm looking for self-defense techniques that work in any situation. Here, though, if I did put my hand over the top, would it get hot? Would I get burned? Yes, probably. But will I be able to peel the gun out of his hand? Yes. Okay, so it's kind of a trade-off, like the knife. All right? I'm going to try to avoid doing that at first. First thing I want to talk about is just the basic, from the front defense. I want to talk about the basic principles and stuff you have to remember. First of all, it's the same as the knife stuff, so we cut out a lot of time right there. All right? But what I want to do here is I want you guys to keep in mind that you have to move to a particular side. All right? I want to move always to the outside. So if it was in this hand, can you switch hands, please? If it was in this hand, I want to move to the outside. I want everyone to see this, so I'm opening up this angle for you. All right? I have to go this way. Here's the thing. Don't move your body sideways. That takes a long time. Just turn. Turn. So I want you to practice this move. Same as before. I don't want any trouble. What happened? Your hands are closer to the weapon now. Down here, he has a lot of time to see the hand coming. My hands are now close to the weapon. Of course, I'm going to adjust it. I'm not going to keep them up here. I'm going to get them a little closer. Hey, I don't want any trouble. See how they're closer to the weapon? All right? Keep them close to the weapon, as close as you can get them, all right, without getting shot. It's a little illusion here. I'm actually very, very close with my right hand to his left wrist. Right? What I'm going to do is just keep everything the same and just turn. 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 Do not step. Turn. Okay? Turn. Now, I'm going to incorporate the grabbing. This is so he can't come back at me. Right? I can push him away for a second. So let's just discuss this hand. Why wouldn't I want to hit on the inside? Two reasons. One, when I turn like this, Nick, can you just try to turn the gun back at me? It's extremely difficult, okay? If I go, put it in the other hand so they can see. If I go like this, turn the gun back at me. All right. Now at this point too, if you hit, I just want you to look at Nick's hand here. If I strike this, look what happened to his fingers. They curve in when I strike his hand. Okay? So if you look at Nick's fingers, as I hit these tendons, they curve in as you hit his hand. All right? That's the last thing I want to happen when his finger's on a trigger. I just made him pull the trigger by hitting his hand. Nick's laughing because you gotta feel it. Look. But we're going to use this to our advantage. When we're here, you'll notice how if I press, you can feel it right here. You can feel these. When you grab, I want you to squeeze it. See it? Like relax your hand now. Don't move for me. Okay? Try that at home. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to add a little bit. Depending on the level of the situation. Oh, well, actually, there is no level here. He has a gun on you. All right? So here, out. Okay? So out of the situation. All right? Another way to get your hands in here fast is maybe like you know, I'll reach for your wallet. If your hand's down, you know, he's like, hey, get your hands away from the gun. Okay, good. I just want to reach for the wallet. You know, here. Okay, so there's a lot of techniques. Use your brain. This is brain power here, right here. Boom. At this point, I want you to try. Okay, you can come this way and get it out. I want you to just press the gun toward him. One thing that will aid this, remember when I squeezed, is this right hand. Okay, so two motions. Now the gun's pointing at him. Okay, two motions. Two motions. Okay, at this point, if you want the firearm, you can keep turning toward you. It's going to come out of his hand. Or if you're not very strong, you can simply squeeze and pull the trigger yourself. At this point, I'm right in the position to do it. So here, boom, squeezing, grabbing, turning. Look, I'm right in the firing position. My finger's right over his. All right. Little variations on the technique. Like the knife. Very hard to hold on to, right, Nick? Mm-hmm. Like the knife. Very hard to hold on to. Actually hurts. Are you all right? Mm-hmm. Hurt his finger. Here. Okay. Careful with the down because you're pushing it into yourself. I prefer to go up. All right. But I like this move here. Boom. Okay. You know, and then you can reposition your finger if you want to, but I don't think he's going to do too much moving. Actually, to tell you the truth, once you get your hand on the gun, you can grab the gun with your own hand and pull. I control him. I'm controlling him with a wrist lock and the weapon. Now I'd like to talk about the gun defense from behind. The principle is going to be the same. Hands up. But here we have to look first. Please. He would try to hold you up with a pen. All right? Look. I'm looking for another reason. Remember what we said before about coming on the outside and not the inside? If I don't look, I don't know which way to turn. All right? So I have to look. Now I know I have to turn this way. One thing I want you to know is see the pivoting action? If you get an angle here, and I stand directly behind me, you'll notice that by pivoting, watch the angle of the weapon. Okay, the firearm rolls off my back. Okay? See? He's shooting on a straight angle. If you look at my back, even if he fires now, it's not going to get me. Like I'm bumping it with my shoulder. Okay? One other way you can get your hand there if he doesn't allow you to put your hands up is go for the wallet. All right. Now, are there fancy techniques that we can do? Yes, there are. Do I want to keep it the same as before? Yes, I do. Okay, bump it off. Whatever, your hand's close, grab it with this one. Really try to pass the gun. Here's the thing. Guns are harder to pass than knives. All right? And another thing, too, if you've trained with firearms, you always have one shooting hand. It's very difficult to shoot with the other hand. All right? So you won't pass it as fast as before. So if you're comfortable with this hand, it's, you know, you can just peel the sucker out however you can. Peel it out, get it. Okay? You don't want to be able to move it. With blocking, if you block a gun and try to do anything fancy, you know, then he has time to reposition. I don't want to give him that time to reposition. Here, if he tries to reposition, I'm still holding it. Okay? I'm also squeezing as well. All right, so here, I get in here, grab it with the first hand. If you're not coordinated, switch to the second, then do your techniques, whatever you want to do. You can do the push into the thing. It's exactly the same form. We're in the same position now. Once again, hands up, look. I want to go to the outside. Please do not ever go to the inside. You can still turn and fire. Outside. Grabbing. I grabbed with the second hand because I have the speed. If you're not confident or comfortable, grab with the first hand. Okay, you can lower the hand tube, but be careful, don't pull it into your own range of fire. Just switch, or don't switch. Grab it, peel it out. Thank you for watching. I hope that you understand that self-defense is a process that is not exactly easy, but can be made easy by using the common denominator methods that I've described. It's not about learning a million techniques. It's not about using speed or strength. It's about using your brain. All right? The techniques that we went over today, we were able to interlace them. Not only that, but we were able to use them for multiple attacking situations. Okay, so depending on how our attacker came at us, it didn't matter. Some people came at us with a punch from this direction, that direction, the other direction. We used one thing to block it. For all grabs from the front, we used one technique. From all grabs from behind, one technique. From all tackles from the front, one technique. Then some of these techniques bridged into things that we did on the ground. All right? So we only had to learn step out, step around, fall down, catch and pass, raising your hands, the principles of grabbing the wrist and turning the weapon out. It was very simple. Maybe too simple for some people, but hopefully it'll be simple enough to save your life. I was cautious while putting together the techniques for this DVD for fear that they might be used for the wrong reasons. I would encourage all of you to use these techniques only for the right reasons. As you remember, we started with attacks from behind and the front from the standing position. First thing I'd like to talk about, though, is from the front. Okay, so we'll do it in a little bit of a reverse order, but from the front, someone's striking you. The principles are exactly the same. So we have our hands up, we're blocking punches. We don't want to trade punches all day, and the point is to restrain. I have to do this for professional reasons. This is not a no-holds-barred fighting DVD. Okay? So I don't want to stand and trade with him too long. What I want to do is get in close to restrain. All right? I don't want to spend a lot of time here. All right? So either it's defend and flee like before, we defend and flee, okay? But at this point I would like to restrain and subdue my assailant here. So what we're going to look for, I'm going to do a simple thing. If he is striking, we'll deal with striking right now. If he's just striking, I'm waiting for a contact point here. I can either grab the wrist to stop him temporarily, okay? So as he pulls back, I go with him. Now I'm closer. Or I can use it like a button. He hits my arm, I come in. Now it really depends on how good you are. All right. So here, okay. So here, if you can get it, we do the same technique as before. Bouncing the hand off, shooting in to the back. Okay. Or simply grabbing, pulling in. Okay. It becomes a little harder when he does looping punches and stuff. But I'm going to get in like this. Remember, when you do this type of hold, you want to look up here to avoid some submissions. Okay, so look up, just as a tip for you guys. All right, but whatever way I get in, I get in. Why wouldn't I want to shoot on him? All right, well, there's a few reasons for that. Just come a little closer for me, Nick. There's a few reasons for that. One, unsure of my surface. I don't want to shoot in and drag my knee on the floor, concrete. All right. Two, the ability to strike at a distance. Remember how easy it was with the catching and pass technique to stop the takedown. Maybe he knows it, all right? Or maybe he'll strike as I come in. Boom. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to go to a head-to-chest type clinch, okay, or a back clinch, all right? I may also not even want to go to the ground. So I have to decide that now. You have to see what your purposes are at this point. Personally, I like the head-to-chest clinch. I feel this affords me the most opportunity. What I'm going to do is whatever way I get in, either by grabbing, and you could do this. Just grab, initiate. All right, grabbing the wrist is a tried and true method. Get a hold of the wrist, come in. All right, works. Parrying. Okay, so for the Japanese, parrying, coming in. You know, grabbing, dragging, drag and come in. All techniques that work. So it's dragging and coming in. Okay, so here, dragging and coming in, initiating the grab, dragging and coming in, initiating the grab, dragging and coming in. Okay. Just parrying, quick, boom, fast, go. Okay, you got to get on the retraction, otherwise he's going to hit again. Even if you do get hit on the way in, it's a lighter shot. Okay, so you got to make the trade-off here. It could be off the kick, so low kick, please. Boom, here, kicking and coming in. Okay, so we're using all the same techniques from before. All right, to get in. All right, but once we get in, this is what I'd really like to discuss. Once I'm here and I get in, get a back view. I want to stay tight. I don't want him to have the advantages that I had from before. okay, and taking me down. What I'd like to do is keep this simple for you guys. I want to keep the head to the chest, or I'm sorry, the head to the back, okay, so that I can't be elbowed. I like to keep the head to the back so I can't be elbowed. All right, really, really simple. All right, simple move. I'm standing to the side so I can't be kneed in the groin. All right, these are very simple moves. At this point I have back control, and depending on your level of technique, you can decide what to do. The first move I'm going to do is just a very simple way to get him on the ground without going to the ground. If you want to go to the ground with him, you can look a little bit more into my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu series, and I discuss that. But the first thing I want to talk about is just how to pull him to the ground without going down yourself. This is necessary. All right. One thing we're going to do here, once we get to this basic position, or get behind my opponent, all right, I want to come over like a rear choke. Now, it depends on the laws, that you have to abide by. You may not be able to choke your opponent. In which case, if you're here and you can't choke him, you can cross face here. Okay, where the head goes, the body follows. One thing, if you don't want him to keep spinning around on you, you can stop him by putting your hand here and holding your own hand. Now he can't turn back at me. It's very difficult, right? I'm able to peel him down, all right? Or if you can choke, you're going to go for the rear naked choke move. Okay, we'll keep it simple. We're not actually going to put him to sleep right now, well, unless you wanted to, but it's not the intention. I want to get him down. You can just hold around here if you want to be more gentle. All right. This also stops him from spinning. I'm worried about him spinning around. 1, 2, 3. Okay. If I want to finish the choke here, it's a little harder to do if I don't have his back like in Jiu-Jitsu. I can breathe in and squeeze everything tight. Read the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu books or buy the DVDs if you want the information on the details. My point is just to restrain and subdue him. So either I have the neck here. Okay, well, I have the neck twisted. I have a more gentle neck hold. What I want to do, I know some of you have seen techniques where you push on the back of the leg here to get him down. It allows him to do counter moves. All right. Once again, I cover this on the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu series. So if he's experienced, there's a lot of counter moves to this. Okay. Yeah, there's an awful lot of counter moves to these moves. So I want to try to give him just less counters is better for me. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a dragging technique. It's very hard to escape, actually, when he is backpedaling. So I will drag him back and get him down. Okay? Now he's on the ground. All right? So what I want you to do is just actually pull and drag him back. Keep him moving backwards. If you can keep him moving backwards, you'll be fine. So right here, I keep him moving back, back, back. Okay? Okay, once again, back and jerking down. Back and jerking down. Back, okay? Back, back. Jerking down to restrain. Once again, let's look at the entry. So from here, I may have initiated it. Come around to the back. Grab his neck. Jerk back, jerk back, jerk back. Until he's on the ground. Okay, right there? Alright. Easy way to get him down. Head to chest. Let's say I landed here. Talk about the head to chest situation. You'll notice I'm doing a few things. I'm covering my face so I can't be hit on my left side here. I'm covering my face with my bicep. If he elbows me with his left arm, I'll bring my body up. I can also grab this hand. Okay? This is an important situation here for you guys. You have to understand it. Now, I don't want to do a lot of single leg takedowns and stuff because once again, I don't want my knees hitting the floor. All right? We can kind of use a technique from before where we step behind him and fall. As you can see, part of me is hitting the floor. It's a little more dangerous for me. That's why I prefer to use the drag back situation. So now we have a couple of different situations. We have the drag back, and we have the step around. If you want really specific details and all kinds of counters on that, you can go to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu DVDs. They'll give you more insight. Personally, I like the drag back. What I want to talk about now is when an opponent is against a wall here. Okay, we've got him in a situation. We've asked him to put his hands here and how to restrain and take down an opponent like this. All right? Just move over. Okay, hands against the wall, please. I want to talk about a situation where our opponent's against the wall. All right? Here's the thing. Depends on your situation. But a lot of people will wait and spin on you. So you don't want a lot of space because he can just turn and spin. Yeah. Okay? So I don't want that. All right? I want to get in a position where I'm very close. All right? So I can control it without him spinning. All right. One thing you can do too, very, very simple technique. If he's here, you can kick the leg out here, okay? Making sure he stays out, all right? So right here, our feet are sticking to the floor a little bit, but here, if I kick it out, he won't move, all right? Another thing you can do too, this is where that leg thing will work. If your head isn't going to be close to his body, keep your hand close to it so you can feel which way he's going to go. You can also press his knee to the floor, all right? That'll get him down. Once again, we have our opponent here. Make some kind of contact so you can feel which way he's going to spin on you if he's going to do it, or get close. Okay? You can actually do the same takedown as before if you want to, falling off the wall. He'll go down. But let's say you're in a professional situation where you don't want to go down. One very easy technique is to step on the leg and keep stepping on it. Don't let your weight off. Don't try to kick it or anything. You can also kick the legs out if your surface is slippery. If that doesn't work, here, stepping on the leg all the way down. Okay? Technique, if you want him on the ground, is the same as before. Pulling him to the floor. If he's on the wall, one very hard thing to do, I mean, obviously if he complies, I say, put your hand behind your back, please, so you can get the cuffs or whatever. If he complies, that's easy. I'm not going to encourage anyone, so many people ask, well, how do I get his hands up? You don't. You don't get his hands off the wall if he doesn't want it. There's no way to do it without strength, okay? At this point, you have to make him comply by putting him on the ground. Here, hopefully now I'll be able to get his arm off. Okay, be able to get his arm off and get him. If he still doesn't comply, he tucks his hands in or something like that, then you need to pull him down. Pull him to the floor. Once your opponent's on the ground, there are a few areas of attack that we're going to talk about. I'm going to save the top here, this top range, for a second. What I'm talking about, let's say he lands here and he manages to get his feet in front of us. All right, this is a very basic, guard situation that the guy has. He's using his guard. We talked about it before. If you really want to get him to comply, you're not going to be able to do it. From this end, you want to put your face here. It's no good. What I'd like you guys to do is a very simple technique. I want to rush in. Okay, it seems like your groin's more exposed, and if it is, you can actually cover it. But I want you to rush in behind his hamstring or over his shin. To one side. He can't kick that way. Let's say he was kicking higher. Here, stuff the leg. See, I'm at an angle. It's kind of very hard to kick me, and I'm stuffing his leg. He has no more kicking power. Once I've stuffed at any angle, even if it's here or here, I've jammed. Grab a hold of his ankles or feet, preferably the tops of the feet. It's a great place to do it. Depends if you have shoes. I don't know what your situation is going to be. But you can push the feet down and then pull back. So here, stuffing, pushing down, pulling back, okay? So it's very easy. He's in the front, stuffing, pushing down, pulling back. Once we pull back, we're going to move to the knee on belly position. From the knee on belly position, there are a few attacks that we can make. Now, once again, I don't want to make this complicated, all right? The knee on belly position is fantastic because you can control your opponent without putting your knees on the floor. It's one thing we're going to discuss with these side control positions. I do not want to put my knees on the floor. I'm unsure of my surface. I also don't want to expose my back for too long. I want to be aware. All right. A lot of people ask with this position naturally, can he grab your groin? Well, he doesn't have so much leverage. I have the pushing leverage. This is also a fantastic position because if you have pushing leverage, you can control the wrist while you get your cuffs or whatever you need to do. You can obviously strike if you had to strike. But I'd like to talk about restraining. The one thing I want to do here with you guys is once we get into this position, okay, we're going to talk about an attack on a limb to cuff, and we're going to talk about basic restraint. All right. First thing, the basic restraint. I want to push his wrist down. Once I have his wrist down, I'm going to help with my own hand. All right. So you can see I'm in this knee on belly position. I'm at a 45-degree angle here. Okay, not here because I'll fall over. Not all the way out. Just at a 45. I'm resting my weight on his belly. Okay, pushing this hand down, pushing the elbow. I want to push the elbow even if I have to with both hands. Okay, even if you resist a little bit. Okay, push, push, push. Get behind it. Very hard for him to resist. Once I get it over here, I want to reach behind his head and grab the wrist. Now he can't come back at me. All right, I'm in a very good position. If you're working for law enforcement, you obviously can punch, but if you're working for law enforcement, at this point it's very easy to roll him over. Okay, he's in a compromised position. I can switch hands, give me your arm, whatever, and I can, easily cuff him. All right, it's a very, very bad position for him. But let's look again at this knee on belly. So here, look, stable. All right? Pushing the hand down. Pushing the hand down. Rolling him over. If you just want to roll straight to the back, you can mash your opponent over here. Okay? Knee in the back. Use your knee to push. See, I went right down. I put my knee right on his spine. Right here. Push. Doesn't feel good, right?
Please.
I'd like to discuss now a restraining technique that we're going to use through the series. Instead of using a whole bunch of moves, okay, and becoming a jack of all trades with these moves, I'd rather have you master one. What move are we going to do? It's going to be called the Kimura in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, okay? It's a bent arm lock here. Like this. It's the only arm lock we're going to do. We learned a bit of a choke, but here's the thing. Chokes may not always be legal. All right? They're not legal in every situation. Arm locks, usually, and that's really what you have to do if you're in law enforcement or you want to control someone. All right? Some people are also very hard to choke out. Ideally, if it's a dangerous situation, the choke is the ultimate thing because you put the person to sleep. All right? But, like I said, it could be a very dangerous technique. And for people who don't understand martial arts, they don't understand that you're just cutting off the blood when you choke and making that person pass out temporarily. You're not trying to kill them. People generally in society view choking techniques as life-threatening moves. So you'd like to try to avoid them. And remember, you don't want to spend your life in jail after you defend yourself in one of these situations. So we're going with one move. Now, there are a lot of different moves we can do, like a straight arm lock, all right? But it exposes my belly to the floor, my back is on the floor, he could bite me. So for example, just to review it very quickly, I mean, I'm not even going to have you concentrate on it. If you really want to learn it, once again, go to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu series that I have out, and it details it. But I mean, even from this position, you know, I could go here, and I could start to go for an arm lock, but look, he'll bite my leg, he can resist very easily. So, will it work? Yeah. But is it going to work all the time? No. All right. Are there a lot of counters? Yes. I want to go with things with less counters. Also, I want to do a move that I can hit from every single position, so I don't have to think. You see what I mean? When you're in one position, it's like, oh, I can't hit that while I'm locked from that position. I have to switch to this move. I have to switch to this move. I have to switch. Now it's getting very complicated. Now you have to know 20 moves. One move, reliable, all the time. So remember when we had the person go to his back here? We were just pushing him to his back. He may be pushing with this arm here. All right? From this position, here's what I want to do. I'm going to have you guys secure the arm here. I'm just going to look at it at a wide perspective. I'm going to have you secure the arm here, okay? Pushing down. At this point, it's pretty easy. If you had to cuff someone, it's pretty easy to do so. All right? You can also use a very simple technique of turning the person this way, all right, by using your own hand. All right? These are all really easy moves. But what I want to show you is a basic Kimura technique. Remember I said I didn't want the knees on the floor? A lot of times before, when we were talking about the Kimura move, in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you put your knees on the floor very often and lock the arm this way. I'd like to try to avoid that. So what I want to show you is a hold where you land on top of him. Okay, so maybe he fell down. We were going back to this situation. Maybe we're here. Boom. And I dragged him to the floor. If not, and we started at knee on belly where he passed his guard, I want you guys to come around him this way. Okay? So now, in any event, we either pinned the wrist and came around him, or we were down. You know, I pulled him to the floor. Okay, so we're here. What I want you to do, I have my knees on the floor just to show you, is lock your arm underneath his arm exactly the way I'm showing it. Basically, you almost line up your elbows. Tuck in all the way underneath his armpit and rest all of your weight on his ribs. All right, so it's got to be tucked in. It can't be loose. It has to be tucked in here. Here. I'm gonna put his arm, his tricep, in the center of my chest. Okay? So I'm right here. Boom. See? This tricep, center of my chest. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put all my weight right down on my arm and spread my legs back. Okay? It's a lot of weight, right, Nick? Okay? Your opponent should feel like there's a tremendous amount of pressure on him now. So like I said, I can hit this from any position. I can hit it from here or from the on belly. I simply spun around. I was here. Boom. Drop down. Notice how my knees aren't on the floor. I'm making tremendous pressure. Once I have this, the benefit of this position is tremendous. Because once I have it, this whole arm here, this whole side, is free. Look, I'm just lying on him. It's free to hit. It's free to control. It's free to cuff. It's free. This hand here is amazing. Right here. Okay, look. Okay, it can work. Nick, try to move. Very difficult, right? Tough. He can't move. And he's in pain the whole time. All right? So I'm here, tucked, you see again at this angle? Tucked, boom. Hard for you, right? I can control, very little power here. I can control everything. Boom, cuff, 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 whatever. Now we're going to go to the submission, the Kimura. At this point I can do the Kimura from here, the arm lock, if I need to stop him. Now right there I had a nice cuffing technique. But if I need to stop him, I can bring the arm to the floor. Okay? And get him in the Kimura lock. One thing I want to address though, if you're here and he starts to knee, put your head down. Down. Okay? The Kimura. When we're here, I want you had your hands like this. I want you to put your hand like this, like chopping down. Chopping down. You're going to direct your arms like this. You're going to reinforce with this arm. It's like a 2x4 on his arm. Boom. Elbow all the way to the floor. And you're going to punch the floor. So I'm loosening it up for you. Obviously it is tighter. But here, punch the floor. You want to make this position with your hand. Okay? Right here, hemming it out. You are now going to push your belly into his shoulder. See how my knees still are on the floor? Push your belly into his shoulder. Okay? Boom. Already you should be feeling pressure. Okay? So here, drag down all your weight. Your weight's on him. All of your weight. You're doing a push-up. Look. All the way down. All of your body weight versus his arm. And once you have it, you're going to make a move with your wrist. Like this. At the same time, you're going to slightly tilt your body to the side to lift his elbow up and create pressure on his shoulder. Okay? With your wrist. That's the Kimura lock. Sometimes your opponent will end up in a downed position like this, a turtled position. Here's the thing. Once again, are there choking techniques? Yes. Are there arm lock techniques? Yes. Are they hard to do? Yes. If you want to do a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu move and take the back, that's fine. Okay, if you're the only two guys in the room and you're allowed to choke him. If not, it's not very good. Maybe you're going to expose your back to someone else. So you're going to be rolling around on the ground. Or I'll put my hooks in to take his back and I'll scrape my knees on the floor. I want to do a move that's going to end this and then I can bring back to my other reference points. You see, that's the whole point of this system here. I'm basically trying to come up with all the ways I can get to that one Kimura move. I'm getting to that Kimura move, or I'm going to finish the fight standing. So I'm either going to finish the fight standing, restrain the person, or get to the Kimura move. That's it. I'm restraining my opponent. We're using all the same reference points as the defend and flee system, the self-defense system. Our reference points were what? Standing from the front. So we did the same parry system, how to get to his back. Taking his back, okay, either taking him down or finishing him. We added taking him down off the wall. Okay, so once we did that, I showed you a brief way how to get by his guard. I also showed you how to control from side control a little bit. All right, and I showed you how to move from side control to the back position, okay, or the top position. I showed you how to move from side control from the top position. I also showed you how to roll the opponent over. Remember before I had my knee in his back and I was able to subdue him a little like that. In this situation, you know, maybe he rolls away. I had him in knee on belly. Go on your back, Nick. Okay, so maybe he opted to either roll this way, go to your knees quickly. Boom, maybe he's here, okay? Or maybe he rolled away. Or maybe I pushed him and he rolled away. Okay, so now he's in this position here. All right, so this can happen. Here's what I want to do. I came up with a lot of ways in designing the system to tap the guy out, all these crazy arm locks, leg locks, stuff like that. Once again, if you're in it for sport, that's fine. It's fancy, it's neat. But I'm trying to train people who don't have time maybe to train at a martial arts school. You know, they need this for work. And you need very quick things that are highly reliable and easy to remember. So here's what I did. This is the same move that we did standing, okay, when we were taking our opponent down. But we're going to add one thing, all right? This is not a choking technique. A lot of times the guy will get on all fours and kind of ball up. Yeah, so it's hard to get, okay? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a cross-facing technique. Okay, I'm just going to turn you this way here so that we can see his cross-facing move. I'm going to come in along the line of his face. Rake right in here. Okay, Nick, just lift your head up. I'm coming right along this line. And I'm going to stay along it. Right along this line. I'm going to stay tight and put my hand on his back as I do that until my hands meet. Okay, it's very painful for most people. Okay, you can really dig in. You can go this way first to trick him, and then come this way if you like. So 1, 2. Very painful. If you prefer not to stay on your knees, you can put your knee right on his thigh. You know, don't collapse. So you put your knee right on his thigh. Okay, it's kind of painful. Here, here. Get your hands together. What you're going to do once you get your hands together is turn toward yourself and drop him down. 1, 2. Now you're in the same position as you were before for the Kimura. I know. Maybe move over just a little bit. Okay. 1. Grab your hands. 2. Turn back in a circle. I'm exaggerating incredibly, but you have to believe me here. All the way around. Boom. Take him off his feet. Put him on the floor. Now you're ready for the Kimura position, depending on what you want to do. Another useful application for this technique, maybe he's not the turtle, maybe he's on top of someone, attacking someone. You know what I mean? And I want to get him off. 1, 2, that's, it pulls him right off. This hurts, will be all right?
Yeah.
Okay? He's attacking someone. Okay? Pulling him off. Drop down. Okay? Now you're in a position of control. Another use for this neck control. Here, he's against the wall. Same thing, okay? You'll notice how my hands are. I can increase the leverage on the neck crank by curling my hand in. Okay? And bowing this out. Pushes his shoulder forward, his neck. Tap when you have to, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Bowing out, curling in. Pushes his shoulder forward, brings my hand back, twists his neck. If he lifts his chin, I'm in a choking position now, if I have to use it. Once again, with the choke, don't get involved in this. Just drag down. If he loses his footing, he can't defend. See, popular techniques in jiu-jitsu, and this is what to expect, and you have to know what to expect. If he's here, he's either going to use my system of falling down, you see, and if you weren't backing up, you're caught. He has to keep backing up. Another thing a lot of guys like to do is they like to turn this way, okay? You can't let that happen, okay? If he has the ability to turn or step behind, you're done. In order to take someone down like this, you need to drag down. He doesn't have the ability. You go, 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 go. Jerk, jerk, jerk. Get him down. You don't want to be bothered by any of this other nonsense, man. Even if he puts his knee in my, put your foot in my knee, look. See? You don't want to be involved with that. Okay? You find the most efficient way to put him on the ground. And again, we're going right back to that reference point. We pull him to the ground, and we're in Kimura position. When we're going for the Kimura, like I said before, we can come around here. I'm making a lot of space so that you can see my arm here, and you hook in. All right? You know, I mean, geez, if you can restrain him right here, do it. But let's say we're here, okay? We'll do it on this side. Because what happens sometimes is when you're here, all right, he starts pushing off. Remember that we can do Kimura on either side. All right, we can switch. You can go here and switch. So back and forth. So you can do it on both sides. I like to take a look, just some of the details of the Kimura. Once we get him down, once again, here, you can punch the floor. See, the reason I'm not grabbing is because, see the angle of his arm? It's not a 90-degree angle. I want to keep it at a 90-degree angle. Here, it's too wide. So I'm here. I'm not over his head. I'm right over his shoulder. Boom. Okay? I rotate up and lift a little bit. I want to finish him. Thanks for watching. Of course, there are many techniques that we can do while on the ground for restraining or standing. And when your life depends on it, when you need them, your job depends on it, or your loved ones depend on it, you need these techniques to work 100% of the time. Now, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing's going to work all the time. Nothing's bulletproof. All right? But this is as close as it gets. And also remember, I only showed one technique on the ground for restraining. I showed a neck crank up top. I showed the choking methods, okay? So really there aren't a whole lot of submissions here. There's only a few, but that's the key. Okay, we can't master 20 techniques in a short period of time. Maybe you don't have the time to train at a school regularly. That's probably why you're watching this DVD. So you need 1 or 2 reliable techniques that are going to work from every position. And as we learned today, these techniques work from every single position. From the top, we move from knee on belly, we move from top or side control. We also found 1 or 2 simple ways, no matter where our opponent was, to put him in that position. Now that's reliable. That's going to work when I need it to work. That's going to work when you need it to work.